Tacoma Public Schools acknowledges that we are on the traditional, ancestral, and historical lands of the Puyallup Tribe of Indians. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the Puyallup Tribe. This acknowledgement serves as a first step in honoring our tribal neighbors and partners who have inhabited this region since time immemorial, and whom we give thanks for allowing us passage to their lands. We shall intentionally create inclusive and respectful partnerships that honor Indigenous cultures, histories, identities, and socio-political realities.
Hi Tacoma, I'm Mrs. Oslin. I'm here at Clear Creek between River Road and Pioneer Way with biologists from the Port of Tacoma. Jen, introduce yourself, tell us why we're here and what we're doing.
Hi, my name is Jen Stebbings. I'm the biologist for the Port of Tacoma, and today we are Chum Chucking. This is the Port's Clear Creek habitat site, and what we're doing is we are providing marine nutrients the old-fashioned way. So historically, when fish would return from the ocean, they would spawn and die. When they die, several scavengers take their carcasses and spread them around. And it feeds the trees and the bushes, and it's sort of like a fish fertilizer. So what we've done is we've partnered with the Puyallup Tribe of Indians who have donated these fish to us from their hatchery, and we are spreading them around similar as the scavengers used to do back when the salmon populations were much higher.
So is this Clear Creek currently, are salmon in the creek right now?
Yes, salmon currently are in the creek right now, but not necessarily in the numbers that we want to see. So we're still working on restoration efforts, and that's kind of a part of what this little project is to kind of help bolster those restoration efforts.
Is this the only spot where you're doing a project like this?
This is the only spot currently that we're doing the Chum Chucking, but the port has several different restoration sites in and around the Tacoma Tide Flats and the Puyallup Valley.
So would you say that this is a priority for the port, restoring habitats?
Absolutely, yeah. The port has really invested millions of dollars to restore its environment, either from remediating legacy contamination, which means the previous landowners who made the soil dirty, the port comes in and tries to clean up the soil and then put it back to beneficial use, which means either building a new facility to help generate revenue for the port, or building something like this, like a habitat site. So when we purchase a property and clean it up, we kind of look at what is the highest and best use of the property.
And when you say chum chucking,
yes,
what is chum?
Chum are these delicious fishies. So this is a chum salmon. Obviously, it is no longer alive. So as with all salmon, when they go out to the ocean and they come back, they're coming back to spawn. After they spawn, they die.
Okay.
And so these fish have spawned. Therefore, it is the end of their life cycle. So what we're doing is we're taking these fish that are at the end of their life cycle and giving it back to the plants who are in the middle of their life cycle.
So I'm thinking that this is a way of honoring the salmon.
It is a way of honoring the salmon. Yep, absolutely. It's honoring the salmon. It's honoring the habitat. It's giving back and just keeping that cycle going.
For our fifth graders who are currently, they just received salmon eggs and they're raising their salmon eggs in their tanks, in their classroom. How does this project help support the project that they're working on?
That's a great question. So the salmon eggs and the baby salmon that they have in their classrooms, I think came from either a hatchery?
The Puyallup Tribe.
The Puyallup Tribe hatchery.
Mm-hmm.
Well, coincidentally, these fish also came from the Puyallup Tribe hatchery. So it's all one big cycle. So those babies, or those eggs that will become babies, they'll go out to the ocean, they'll live their life, they'll come back in a few years, they'll come back to the hatchery, and they might end up here at my Clear Creek habitat site.
And how long would that take?
Chum life cycle is probably 4 years, give or intake. So
Okay.
when they're starting high school, these fish will be coming home.
And could they come chuck chum and maybe recognize some of the fish?
If they name their fish, they can come say hi to their old buddies. One of the most important things to the port is making sure that we leave a legacy of, we want to leave it better than we found it. So one of the port's missions is to take those legacy contaminated properties, take those dirty dirt properties, and put them back into beneficial use.
So as scientists, we do a lot of questioning and observing, and I'm making an observation right now about the smell coming from the chum.
Oh, you can smell
I
that.
can't smell that. Can you tell us about why the fish smell, and is that beneficial or not to these efforts?
Yeah, so if you want to imagine a really low tide on a hot day, that's kind of the general smell that you're getting
Mhm.
right now. It's sort of that marine decomposition, a little bit of death thrown in for kicks. So what you're smelling is basically the ocean. The ocean has come back into this freshwater system, and as it dies, it does let off a very distinct, some would say fishy aroma. But in the end, it's all good. But it is potent.
It is.
A little pungent.
It's not quite as strong as I was imagining, but as
walk
more,
over there.
I was gonna say, as more fish are moving away, it's definitely, yeah. Another observation I'm making are salmon eggs
Mhm.
over there coming out of some of the fish. So
Yeah.
you said that these fish have already spawned.
Yeah, some of the fish had passed away before they had an opportunity to spawn. So what you're seeing is a female fish that passed away before it had an opportunity to spawn, and that has a technical term called pre-spawn mortality. So sometimes the fish, they just wait too long and they don't get a chance to spawn before it's the end of their life cycle.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time, letting us interrupt your chum chucking for some lessons for our students in
Absolutely.
Tacoma.
Sure.
Maybe I'll put some gloves on and see if I can chuck a chum.
Oh. No. So pick up another fish, pick it up by the tail. There you go. Come on to the edge. Hold on. Great
Give me a close up of your hands. Ew.
Great. Thank you, Tacoma, so much for joining us today. We'll see you back here next time. Well, probably not back here, but back in the studio. Bye.
Bye.